Two things I want to talk about in this video are the spiritual diet and our spiritual diet, because just as our physical diet affects our health, so does our spiritual diet. The other thing is appearance. How does appearance affect, how can it affect our spiritual immune system? Because, if we're set apart, to me it's like being stage fright. Why are people afraid of public speaking? Because of, they're afraid of making mistakes in front of an audience, right? To me, our appearance can do the same thing. If we look like a Hebrew, then we've got that accountability. If we're wearing tzitzit, if we've got a beard, if we're wearing a head covering, for women, head covering and modesty, it's a constant thing. It's like you're always on stage, and you can never hide from that. And that's the key. It's not so much about the physical appearance as it is the heart is behind the heart of obedience behind that appearance. I have a beard because it says in Leviticus 19:27, you shall not harm the edges of your beard. Plus, I also see that in how David's David's messengers were shamed when their beard was cut off. And he tells them to stay here in Jericho until your beard regrows. And tzitzit for me were life-changing. They help. They're an accountability without an accountability partner, so to speak. And I see that as an important thing for women. Head covering, that you're married to Messiah. Not so much. I mean, sure, physical. That's the rabbinic side of it. That, married women cover their head, blah, blah, blah. Okay, fine, whatever. But let's look at it more as being married to Messiah. And realize that the head covering is a physical symbol of spiritual protection. Why? Because the mindset that it takes to choose to wear a head covering every single day, that kind of mindset is going to be a lot less susceptible to Satan's attacks, to Satan's viruses. The virus we call sin. And we have to realize that it's about that. And like when it comes to long skirts and dresses for women, there's for me at least, there's just a special quality that I see in a woman. I see her, to me it showcases the masterpiece that she was made to be, because she was made to be a helpmate for a man. And to me that's just a woman that accepts her role, her God-given role, is beautiful beyond anything in this world. As beautiful as Grand Canyon or the Tetons or Yellowstone or any of that stuff is, Yosemite, beautiful as those things are, Carlsbad Caverns, a woman that has a heart to live according to what God created her for is just beyond compare. And the other thing that I want to talk about in the video is about our spiritual diet. What are we feeding? Are we feeding on TV and movies and all sorts of worldly music, smells, whatever? Are we that stuff is going to affect our spiritual immune system. And it's just amazing to me. And it's so important. And why is Torah important in supercharging our immune system? Let's go to Deuteronomy 7. Let's start in verse 12. Then it shall come about, because you listen to these judgments and keep and do them, that the Lord your God will keep with you his covenant and his loving kindness, which he swore to your forefathers. He will love you, bless you, and multiply you. He will also bless the fruit of your womb and the fruit of your ground, your grain and your new wine and your oil, and increase your herd, and the young of your flock in the land which he swore to your forefathers to give you. You shall be blessed above all people. There will be no male or female. There shall be no male or female barrenness among you or among your cattle. The Lord will remove from you all sicknesses, and he will not put upon you any of the harmful diseases of Egypt which you have known, but he will lay them on all who hate you. So that that talks about keeping his word and the blessings behind it. And you can also read that in Deuteronomy 28 about the blessings and curses. But it says there, I will not put any of the diseases upon you that were upon the Egyptians. And if you look at Egypt being a type of the world, I will not put any of the diseases of the world upon you. And there can be other reasons why we have diseases, but I can tell you personally, when I started embracing the Torah, my brain tumor was healed, and my parathyroid started working. And the whole thing with the parathyroid not starting to work after it hadn't been working for 8 years since I had the parathyroid surgery to remove my parathyroids from my neck and implant a portion of them into my arm, and they didn't take to control my calcium levels in my blood. When I started truly embracing Torah in about late 2011 and into 2012, when I first started into really embracing beyond the Sabbath, the holy days, and clean foods, beyond those things, when I started to really look at this stuff, he did those things. And I think it was him saying, wait for my timing, because I was feeling like, well, I better do whatever I need to do, because they're not going to allow Christians to have things. At some point, they're going to cut off Christians or believers, and I use Christian in a general sense to include Messianic in this particular context, for lack of, so that, to get the point across. But to realize that it was him saying, wait for my timing. And I think that's important. And that's what we have to learn to do. We have to learn to study this book and live it. And we have to have the behavior of Ezra. He read the Word, he lived the Word, and then and only then did he teach the Word. And that's what we need to do, is to read the Word, live the Word. And that's how we charge our spiritual immune system. What I was reading there about, I will not put any of the diseases upon the Egyptians, has to, one of the things that it probably has to do with is the immune system. That there's something there about the immune system to those who embrace Torah, and we need to worry about, we need to focus on our spiritual immune system as well. And you can look at things that it says not to eat in Scripture and see that those things can carry disease. Pigs and shellfish and scavengers. There's a point to all this. This is to help supercharge your spiritual immune system and obedience. The obedience that of the heart, from the heart, is what changes you. Like it says, for a sincere love of the brethren, 1 Peter 1:22. I mean, so many things, and it's so important to understand. We have to live a lifestyle according to His ways to have our spiritual immune system and our spiritual taste buds properly trained. Shalom, shalom.